I want to bring in Judge Ladoris Hazard Cordell. Judge, at one point during the hearing today, Judge Merchan told Trump's legal team they were losing credibility with the court. If you're a judge and those words have to come out of your mouth, what does that mean for you?
That means that things aren't going well for the attorneys, for Trump's attorneys, and the judge is trying to listen objectively to decide whether or not criminal contempt has been committed. So when the other side, Trump's lawyers, propose ridiculous defenses or responses, such as, well, reposting isn't really posting, so maybe there's no violation of the gag order. That's absurd, and it's a waste of the judge's time. So the judge was clearly agitated, irritated, and the good thing the judge did was like, hold up, I'm not going to make a decision right now when I'm in this mood, in this frame of mind, and that's why I think the judge will likely issue an order, if not later, maybe it's too late on the East Coast, or by tomorrow, so that Trump can know what behavior is acceptable and what is not. I mean, it's clear, I think, after the evidentiary hearing today, that Donald Trump crossed over into criminal contempt land at least 10 times. So the issue is, what is the judge going to do? And the whole purpose of criminal contempt is to, first of all, preserve the integrity of a court proceeding, to make sure people follow the judge's orders. But for the person who has violated an order, the purpose is to punish the person and also to deter them from doing it again. A fine's not going to deter him. So what's left? Incarceration.
Yeah, I mean, is that what you would do? I mean, would you go there? You heard Jody suggest it could be not days, maybe a couple hours. What would you do?
Sure, I understand that. So if there are 10 criminal contempt violations, and it's been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, and that's required in this instance. So what would you do with a person who was not Donald Trump high profile? That person would serve some time in jail for blatantly violating the court's order, not once, not twice, but 10 times. So it should not be any different for this person. And Donald Trump has really just pushed the envelope consistently all through this process. So it's not an issue as far as I'm concerned. I mean, this isn't rocket science, right? You violate a court order 10 times, then you go to jail. The only issue, I think, is when he goes to jail. If he goes now, that delays the trial. That's what he wants. You don't want to do that. So the judge can basically hold off and say, I'm going to give you, could be a day for each, could be an hour for each, 10 hours in a cell, and hold off and say, you're going to start that sentence at the end of the trial, because the trial and the contempt proceeding are two separate things.
We have Robert Ray here on the panel. Robert, do you have any questions for the judge?
I guess my question, Judge, is whether in terms of, incremental ratcheting up of penalties, if an admonition won't work, why wouldn't it be the case that a judge would look next to, okay, I have my doubts about whether or not fines will do the trick, but maybe I'm going to be cautious here and do that first and actually find out whether or not that's sufficient and lay that record down before I go down, travel down the road of, incarceration, whether a matter of hours or days or months.
Yeah, the New York law gives the judge the option of the fine, jail time, or a combination thereof. And by the way, it's 30 days for each violation, a maximum that the judge can impose. For this, it could be a total of 300 days in jail if the judge were to impose the maximum. So, I mean, I just don't, I think we're all making too much of this. If anyone violates a court order and does it blatantly and has been warned, has been fined in other instances, there's only one thing left to do. This person is thumbing his nose at the judge and at the court process. So the issue becomes, and this is entirely up to the judge to say, okay, you're going to go sit in and cool your heels. He could decide for a few hours and bring Donald Trump back out. Because let me tell you, I've seen the jails, and I think the jails here where I live are similar to the jails in other parts of the country. They're not particularly clean, very noisy. And, you know, you can't, if you go in for a few hours, he won't have to perhaps change his clothes. But if he has to go in for a few days, he's got to wear jail garb. So there's a lot that thousands of people have experienced who are sitting in jails now. And I just don't think we should make it such a big deal because this happens to be Donald Trump. He's violated the law, criminal contempt, then he serves his time like anybody else. Entirely up to the judge, and the judge may want to do it in increments. But we all know a fine, a warning, they're not going to deter him. He's pushing the envelope all the time.
Yeah, and I think most people agree. Any other defendant, this wouldn't, to your point, really be a question. But with Donald Trump, here we are talking about it. Judge Hazard Cordell, thank you very much for joining us. And